What happens when someone mocks your dreams because of where you come from? And how far would you go to prove them wrong? Today, we'll explore how determination, hard work, and resilience can turn even the harshest criticism into fuel for greatness. Stay tuned to see how one moment of mockery changed two lives forever. Let's start at the beginning, because every great story has a moment that changes everything. And for Daniel, that moment happened in a small, dusty classroom in his hometown. Daniel wasn't like the other kids. While most of his classmates came from families with money, families who could afford nice clothes, fancy gadgets, and vacations, he grew up in a tiny house with a leaky roof, wearing hand-me-downs and eating leftovers for dinner. But here's the thing about Daniel. He didn't let his circumstances define him. He was smart, ambitious, and full of dreams. One day, their teacher asked the class to share what they wanted to be when they grew up. Some kids said doctors, others said astronauts or artists. But when it was Daniel's turn, he stood up tall, his voice steady, and said, "I want to be an entrepreneur. I'm going to build something so big that it changes people's lives." Instead of applause or encouragement, the room fell silent. Then came the laughter. Not just any laughter, it was sharp, cruel, and cutting. And at the center of it all was Sarah. Sarah was the queen bee of the school. She had everything: designer bags, the latest phone, and enough confidence to make anyone feel small. When Daniel finished speaking, she leaned back in her chair, smirked, and said loud enough for everyone to hear, "Oh, please. People like you don't succeed. You're too poor, too insignificant. Face it, Daniel, you'll always be nobody." The entire class erupted into more laughter. Daniel felt his cheeks burn with embarrassment. His heart sank as he sat back down, staring at his worn-out shoes, feeling smaller than ever. For a moment, doubt crept in. Was she right? Would his background always hold him back? Deep down, Daniel wasn't broken by her words. He was fueled by them. That night, lying awake on his thin mattress, he made a promise to himself. A promise that no matter how hard things got, he would prove Sarah wrong. He would show her, and everyone else, that where you start doesn't determine where you end up. Little did Sarah know her mockery had planted a seed of determination that would grow into something extraordinary. After that day in the classroom, Daniel's life didn't magically change overnight. If anything, it got harder. But what set him apart was his refusal to give up, no matter how many times life tried to knock him down. Picture this: Daniel waking up at 4 a.m., long before the sun rises. He'd start his day by delivering newspapers through quiet, empty streets. By 7 a.m., he'd be sitting in class, trying to stay awake while scribbling notes. After school, he worked odd jobs, cleaning floors at a local diner, stacking shelves at a grocery store, or helping neighbors with yard work. Every penny he earned went toward one goal: saving enough money to chase his dream. But it wasn't just about working hard. It was about believing in himself when no one else did. Nights were the hardest. While other kids were hanging out or watching TV, Daniel would sit under the dim light of a desk lamp, teaching himself coding from old textbooks he borrowed from the library. His hands were calloused from manual labor, but his mind was sharp, determined to master skills that could change his future. Of course, the road wasn't smooth. There were moments when failure felt inevitable. Remember the time he applied for an internship at a tech company? He spent weeks preparing his application, pouring his heart into every word. When the rejection letter came, it hit him hard. For days, he questioned whether all his sacrifices were worth it. But then, something inside him whispered, "Keep going." So, he did. Years passed, and slowly, things began to shift. One breakthrough came when Daniel entered a national innovation competition. Using everything he'd learned, he built an app designed to help small businesses manage their finances more efficiently. It wasn't perfect, it was clunky, buggy, and far from polished, but it solved a real problem. And guess what? Out of thousands of entries, his project won second place. That moment changed everything. Suddenly, people started noticing him, not as the poor kid from the wrong side of town, but as someone with potential. Doors began opening. Investors reached out. Mentors offered guidance. Eventually, Daniel founded his own startup, a platform that connected underserved communities with resources to grow their businesses. Fast forward a few years, and Daniel's company became a global phenomenon. What started as a tiny idea in a rundown apartment turned into a multi-million-dollar enterprise. Magazines hailed him as a visionary. News outlets called him a self-made success story. And yet, despite all the fame and fortune, Daniel never forgot where he came from, or the words that once cut so deeply. Daniel's name is everywhere, on billboards, in magazines, and even in conversations at high-profile events. He's become a symbol of resilience and innovation, admired by millions. But there's one person who hasn't crossed his mind in years: Sarah. That is, until fate brought them face to face once again. It happened at a charity gala hosted by Daniel himself. The event was glamorous, filled with glittering chandeliers, elegant gowns, and powerful figures from all walks of life. Daniel stood at the center of it all, greeting guests and sharing stories about his journey. But then something caught his eye, a familiar face standing hesitantly near the entrance. At first, he didn't recognize her, gone with the designer clothes and confident smirk. Instead, Sarah looked older, more worn down, clutching a simple handbag, as if trying to blend into the crowd. It wasn't until she nervously approached him that realization dawned. "Daniel," she said softly, almost hesitantly, "it's me, Sarah." For a moment, time seemed to stop. Memories flooded back, the laughter, the mockery, the sting of her words. But instead of anger or resentment, Daniel felt calm, collected. He extended his hand politely and replied, "Sarah, it's been a long time." You could see the shock on her face as she took in his presence, the tailored suit, the aura of confidence, the respect everyone around him showed. She stammered, struggling to find words. Finally, she blurted out, I can't believe it's really you. I mean, look at you, you've done so much. I never thought." Her voice trailed off, overcome by emotion. For years, she'd dismissed him as insignificant, unworthy of attention. Now, here he was, proof that she couldn't have been more wrong. "Sarah," Daniel interrupted gently, "let me stop you there. Believe me, I haven't forgotten what you said that day in class. But honestly, I should thank you." "Thank me?" she repeated, incredulous. "Yes," he said with a smile. "Your words pushed me harder than I ever imagined. They made me question myself, but they also taught me how strong I could be. So in a way, I owe part of my success to you." The room fell silent as Sarah processed his response. Tears welled up in her eyes, not of sadness, but of regret. Regret for underestimating him. Regret for letting pride blind her to someone else's potential. "I'm so sorry, Daniel," she whispered, her voice trembling. "I was wrong about you, about everything." He nodded, not out of bitterness, but understanding. "We all make mistakes, Sarah. What matters is learning from them and moving forward." As she stepped back into the crowd, visibly shaken, Daniel turned his attention back to the gala. But for Sarah, the encounter lingered long after the night ended. It was a reminder, a painful yet necessary one, that kindness costs nothing, while cruelty can leave scars that last a lifetime. As we look back on Daniel's incredible journey, from being mocked for his dreams to becoming one of the most successful entrepreneurs of his generation, it's impossible not to feel inspired. But beyond the glitz and glamour lies a deeper message, one that applies to all of us, no matter where we are in life. Criticism can either break you or make you stronger. Think about it. When Sarah laughed at Daniel, she expected him to crumble. Instead, her words became fuel for his fire. Every time he felt like giving up, he remembered her mockery and used it as motivation to push harder. Life will always throw negativity your way, but how you respond defines who you become. Success isn't handed to anyone. It's earned through grit, determination, and countless sacrifices. Daniel didn't wake up one morning with millions in his bank account. He worked tirelessly, often in silence, facing rejection after rejection. Yet he kept going because he believed in himself, and that belief carried him through even the darkest days. Despite everything he achieved, Daniel never let success go to his head. When Sarah apologized, he didn't gloat or rub her nose in his triumph. Instead, he chose forgiveness, a reminder that true greatness isn't just about what you achieve, it's about how you treat others along the way. These lessons aren't unique to Daniel's story. We've all faced moments when someone doubted us, or maybe we doubted ourselves. Maybe you've been told you're not smart enough, talented enough, or lucky enough to chase your dreams. And maybe those words still linger in the back of your mind, holding you back. If there's one thing Daniel's journey teaches us, it's this: your past doesn't define your future. Where you start has nothing to do with how far you can go. The only limits that exist are the ones we place on ourselves. So the next time someone underestimates you, or worse, mocks your ambitions, remember Daniel. Remember his courage, his resilience, and his unwavering belief in himself. Because in the end, it's not about proving people wrong. It's about proving to yourself that you're capable of more than anyone, including you, ever imagined. And let's not forget Sarah herself, a reminder that our actions, whether kind or cruel, have consequences. Her apology showed humility, but it also served as a cautionary tale about underestimating others based on their circumstances. Because the truth is, we never know someone's potential or how far they might go if given the chance. So here's my question to you. What's your takeaway from this story? Have you ever faced criticism that pushed you to succeed? Or maybe you've been in Sarah's shoes, realizing too late that your words hurt more than you intended. Whatever your experience, I'd love to hear it. Share your thoughts in the comments below, because stories like Daniel's remind us that we're all connected by shared struggles and dreams. Before we wrap up, don't forget to hit that like button if this story inspired you. And if you haven't already, subscribe to our channel for more uplifting tales of courage, resilience, and redemption. Every week we bring you stories designed to motivate, challenge, and inspire you to believe in yourself and in the power of possibility. Hit the bell icon so you never miss an upload. Thank you for watching, and remember, no matter where you come from or what challenges you face, your story isn't over yet. Keep pushing forward, keep believing in yourself, and who knows, one day you might just leave your critics speechless. Thank you. See you soon.